always noticed is that when you don't go out on a regular basis, you become like a machine that hasn't been oiled in a long time. You know what I'm saying? In India at least, actually even here, we have the bikes. You know how they have the oil that I actually put on the chain? It'll make the chain go smooth and really, and it makes it really, and they actually sell it here too. They sell the oil here too for the bikes. Anyway, so the point is that what if you actually have a bicycle in the house and you haven't touched it for a year, and then try to ride it? What happens? First of all, you can't ride it because the tire is flat. There's no air in the tires because it's flat. And let's say you're just lucky enough the tire was not flat after 1 year of not using it, and you get on top of it. It's a lot of squeak. It's so hard for you to ride the bicycle. Yeah? Why is that? Because you haven't been using it on a regular basis, right? And I feel that when we don't go out and actually do the business, the activity of the business, we are exactly the same way, right? How many of you, if you don't go out, you don't have to raise your hands. If you don't go out for 1 or 2 weeks, and then the third week you go out, is it difficult for you to drop the message? Come on. Yes. I know it is, right? Because it's like you go out there and you're like, you see a sharp guy like Arvind, in the thing, and you go like, oh, I need to talk to him. I need to talk to him. By the time you make the decision to talk, he already walked away. He went to his car, right? You're still staring at the position where he was standing, right? So and so when you're not in the zone, everything becomes so difficult for you, okay? And so that's one decision that Sugin and also myself we made, is that we will stay in the zone no matter what. No matter what, we always stay in the zone, and it makes it so easy. Like for example, yesterday we had a prosumer that was stopped by our house, so we just wanted to spend some time with them. Prosumer volume is good, yes. We usually meet with them once in 2 months or something. We just invite them to our house. We cut up some fruits and give some, a juice, twist tube juice or something to them. And we spend some time with them. Okay, there's a little tip there. You might want to do that if you want to maintain your prosumers. Okay, so we had that appointment, and then I had a work meeting, and we were able to drop 2 messages. We went out and dropped 2 messages, and I had a counseling phone call with 2 people yesterday. All of this happened in 3 hours in the evening. Okay, and the reason why I bring that up is that when you're not. I could have said, hey, somebody's coming to my house. I have a work meeting, and I'm actually talking to somebody, 2 people about the business, and I could justify me not doing anything in between time, right? But we decided, no matter what, we're going to go out today, and we're going to drop a message on a couple of people, right? And it was so easy for us. Actually, we were not even. How long were we at IKEA? 30, 40 minutes, and I dropped 2 messages. Easy. We talked to 4 people and dropped 2 messages at IKEA. Okay. So, sometimes we go to Costco, sometimes we go to Whole Foods, whatever, Sprouts, we go to multiple places, but yesterday we decided to go to IKEA. And the reason why it was so easy for us is because we are always in the zone, right? And, you look at me and you go, okay, you must be really people person, or you must be so outgoing, so it's easy for you. But even for me, if I don't do it on a weekly basis, it is difficult. If the right words don't come out, I don't feel like talking to someone, or I might just not come off the right way. So all sorts of things, okay? So yesterday I want to give you some examples of how the conversation happened, so you can pick something from it. So the first couple we met was from Tucson, right?
No, the dog. She was looking for the leash.
Oh yeah, for the leash, yeah. So we were in IKEA and looking at we saw a lady really slim, nice looking, and fit, and she was in the dog section. We had a dog, so it's easy to have a conversation. So, and I did this to Sugani, and I said, So she said, okay. She went over there because the guy was not there, and so she went out there and she asked, do you like this leash? Do you have a dog? So yeah, of course.
No, what kind of dog?
What kind of dog do you have, right? So because she's in the dog section, right? You don't buy those things for people. So she said, what kind of dog do you have? And she said it's a mix of Rottweiler and something else. She said Doberman. And she didn't have any clue about Rottweiler. She said, Rot who? No, it's a Rottweiler, and it looks like. So I kind of stepped in and I said, it's like this, and
No, I asked him, Satin, what is that? That way I can bring him in.
So so she brought me into the picture, so I kind of explained to her, and we started a conversation. and then she actually has her own business, okay, and she has.
She works from home for a mortgage company.
She works from home from a mortgage company, and she has her own business, and she has 3 kids, and she did not look like 4 kids. Oh my God, she had 4 kids, and she did not look like she had 4 kids, and she was doing all these things. So we started the conversation with talking about dog, and actually she showed a picture of the dog. And then, okay, we say, hey, look at my dog. And, we showed our dog's picture. And then, so, it's about relating to people, right? So, or you could say something along the lines of, hey, I'm looking to buy a dog. Can I see your pictures of your dog? Okay, whatever. So you want to be able to relate to people at every level. So, so we did that. And so we looked at the pictures of her dog, and then we got the conversation got into, what do you do? And she said, I work from home for a mortgage company. And she said, but I also have my own business. I make my own, she said, soap, right? Well, she makes her own natural soap at home, and she sells it. Sells online. So she said, oh, really? That's interesting, because, that's kind of what my husband does. And so, she brought me into the picture, and I said, hey, yeah, I work with people like you that have the entrepreneurial spirit and that want to get into e-commerce and have their own business, but they have no mentorship, or they don't have all the details about how to create a successful online business and how to make money through it. And that's exactly what we do. We help people like you do that. She said, oh, wow, that's really interesting. And, because she just launched her business, she wanted to sell something. So I said, and she said, my husband's really busy. He's also working at Intel, but he's also doing this. But, we can get some coffee and we can chat more about if there's any mutual interest, if there's things that we can work on together. And she said, absolutely, let's keep in touch. And then we exchanged numbers, and then we left. Okay. And so who was the second person we met? That's not the guy from Tucson, right? That was the day before.
Yeah, that is from Mexico.
Oh, yeah. The second couple was actually also really sharp looking. They think recently married, maybe. So, young, crispy looking couple. And so we were just there. And we were right next to them. And then by the time we started the conversation in the cutting board section, kitchen cutting board section, they moved out. I'm like, oh man, we just got there. They just moved out. So I said, okay, I don't want to sound like we're actually going behind them, but I'm going to give it one more shot. So we went around the section, and where the plates and things were there. And, and they were looking at that, and then, I don't know how it broke the ice. You remember how it broke the ice?
So many selections of plates here, so many products.
Yeah, I said something along the lines of, wow, what a big selection here, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And then they started talking, and he said, hey, we really like it here, and that's why we come here to buy it at IKEA. So we started a conversation. I said, and I said, I could sense that he had an accent. So I said, so are you from here? He said, yeah, right now I'm here, but I'm originally from Mexico. So I said, no, hey, where are you from? I said, a little bit of Spanish I know. I was like, ¿Qué parte de Mexico? And he's like, oh yeah, Spanish. So and we just connected, and I said, I read the book Spanish for Dummies, and so we connected. We just chat a little bit, and then his wife was actually kind of learning English. She could speak, but not fluently. So we talked about, hey, have you checked out this book? And also talked about the app, the Duolingo app, how you can develop the language using Duolingo. So it connected there, and apparently she's a teacher, and this guy, he's helping his brother-in-law in the construction business right now. So we just talked about it, and I said, in back home in Mexico, he was, I think he was a paramedic. So he's a paramedic in Mexico, but he cannot be a paramedic here in the U.S. because, of course, the education is different. They don't let you do that. You have to come back and go to school again to be a paramedic. So I kind of caught that, and then I connected that to a story, and I said, one of my passions is to help people just like you. And he said, really? I said, yeah. Well, we have a good friend of ours, who's originally from Mexico, and she's actually an attorney. She went to school to be a lawyer, but then when she moved here, she didn't have the visa, she didn't have the money, and of course, the English was not her primary thing, so she couldn't fit in, and she couldn't be a lawyer here, obviously. So she ended up doing babysitting, and then I saw that, and I said, there are so many people that are here from the Mexican background, Hispanic background, that come to this country, but don't have the right mentorship or the right opportunity provided to them. they're sharp, they're ambitious, they're hardworking people, but they just don't have the right mentorship and guidance and right opportunities. And he said, yeah, you're right. And I said, hey, that's exactly what we do. I work with people like that, and that's my passion, is to help people who come from that background, to give them an opportunity and to help them mentor and coach them so they can be an entrepreneur, they can succeed, and whatever dreams and goals they have, they can accomplish them. And we do that all over the world, not just here in the US. And that really, his antennas went up, right? And he said, hey, let's connect, and said, yeah, hey, let's get some coffee sometime this weekend. I can't promise you anything, but let's get some coffee sometime this weekend, and we can sit down and chat more. Okay, so that was like those two conversations we had yesterday. The day before, we met somebody from Tucson, and what's the other one?
The relative guy.
Oh, the realtor guy. So this guy was actually walking, and his cart was full, literally full. It was actually overflowing. The cart was. I'm like, hey, are you gonna leave anything for us or what? And he laughed and he said, yeah, actually we bought a new house on Flagstaff, and we're trying to furnish the house. So I said, oh really? So you're moving to Flagstaff? He said, no, I'm not moving. It's actually just a second house we bought. We're gonna put it out on a furnished house. We're gonna put it on Airbnb. And in the weekends and evenings or whatever, in the long weekends, we want to go there, stay there in Flagstaff. So we talked about, hey, I thought it was actually seller's market right now. The price is a little high. I'm surprised you got a really good deal on this house. Here's the thing. I gave him a compliment. At the same time, I also told him I know what I'm talking about. I said, hey, it's a seller's market, prices are high. But I told him, I'm so surprised that you got a really good deal. And he said, no, actually, I didn't get that big of a good deal, but my wife is a real estate agent, and I actually have a friend who's in Flagstaff, so we kind of talked about that, and we talked about the neighborhood and how he's going to do on Airbnb. And I said, have you actually put it down on paper to understand what your income and outgo is going to be on this property? Because a lot of people don't do that because they think they're going to make money out of this, but in reality they don't, because their mortgage payments are a lot higher than what they actually rent the house out in Airbnb. And then it comes back to bite them, and then a job loss here, or maybe some situation in the house, and then all of a sudden you're not able to make the payments for 2 months. Now the house that you thought it was yours belongs to the bank. I've seen this story so many times. And so have you actually put that on a sheet of paper and looked at it? He said, you know what? I don't think I've done that. I should do that. And so he said, I should do that. And so then we started talking about, okay, what do you do for work? And he said, I work for this company, a real estate company. And I said, and so he said, so what's the name of the company? And he said, whatever, Masseray or whatever the company is. They own all the malls, Chandler Malls, Foster Fashion, they own all the malls. So then we talked about, hey, Amazon's taking over everybody. All the malls are shutting down, how are you guys feeling it at your job, at your company? He started talking about it. He said, yeah, as a matter of fact, our stocks are really down right now. It's gone down almost 60, 70%. And I said, wow, 60, 70%, that's a lot. So then, we talked about the stock market, and I gave him a few views on the stock market, and he's like, oh, wow, I didn't even, and so the thing is that a little bit about so many things, and he said, hey, I'd love to keep in touch with you. And I said, what do you do? And I said, I work for Intel, but I also have my own company. And I told him I help people set up in their own business, entrepreneurship. We teach them entrepreneurship, and we coach and we mentor them. And we do, and so he said, what? I'd love to sit down with you and talk to you more. I'm not the entrepreneurship type, but I wasn't the entrepreneurship type, but I would love to sit down with you and learn more about what you do. I said, yeah, okay, yeah, we can connect. So that was the third guy, okay? And the one more guy we met was a guy from Tucson. He came here to your shop, and he is actually works in the IT department in University of Arizona, okay? And so when we met him, and they had a really cute baby. So, and I said, so we're gonna have a cute baby, say something about the baby. And she said, oh, cute baby. That's all you had to say.
No, I asked, how old is your baby?
Yeah, how old is your baby? So all you have to do is say something about the baby. And the moms will just fall on your feet, and they'll be like, oh, it's their thing, they work so hard for it, so she talked about, the baby and, whatever, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, that guy was just standing there. After 2 minutes, I noticed he was kind of feeling awkward. He's like, ladies are talking, and I'm just here and came to shop with my wife, and nobody's talking to me. So I noticed that, and so immediately I jumped in and I said, hey, how's it going? Because I knew that these guys are not going to stop talking, and he knew that too. So I just said, hey, why don't we connect too, right? So I just jumped right in. Here's the key part. If you let the guy walk away, the conversation's over and you will not be able to drop the message on him, okay? So I just jumped right in, I shook his hand, I said, hey, nice to meet you. Where are you from? Looks like they're excited about your baby. And he said, oh yeah, she's really cute. And we just talked about that, and then we connected. Said, what do you do? And he said, I work for University of Arizona, blah, blah. So what do you do? IT? He said, oh wow, that's really excellent. And so I said, so you went to school here? He said, no, I actually went to school in Mexico, but I just came here and I started working, and I got this job. And I said, well, how long have you known this? 3-4 years. And I said, wow, okay. Have you ever thought about actually being in your own business? You could probably make more money doing the same job if you were in your own business. Have you ever thought about being in your own business and then working for University of Arizona? He said, actually that's a really good point, because they paid me like 1/4 of what I'm actually worth, because I would have my own business, I'd be making more money than what they pay me. So I knew that he had that entrepreneurial mindset. So I said, hey, again, yeah, it's a common thing, a problem that a lot of people have. They want to be in business, but they just don't know what, how, where, and they don't have the right opportunity or the mentorship. And it's funny that I just met you like this, but that's exactly what I do. So, and he said, oh yeah, let's connect. I would love to connect with you. And I said, you live in Tucson, so, let's exchange numbers. I'm usually pretty busy, but let's see if we can exchange numbers, and maybe we can set up a video conferencing call and we can chat and see if our interest matches. And if our interest matches, we will see how we can take it forward. Mm-hmm. He said, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. And we just exchanged numbers. That was that. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of walk through specifically the conversations and how I kind of frame the conversation, so you can learn from that. Okay. And everything I said, you can do that exactly the same thing on Facebook or Twitter or Gutter, whatever you choose your platform. You can do it in any of them. Whatever conversations I was having with him face to face, you do it on the message. It may not happen within 5 minutes, it may happen in 500 minutes, but still, it's a DTM, right? It's about connecting, it's about asking the right questions, it's about, it's about doing it's the same thing. Online versus offline really doesn't change. You just need to think about, what is he saying, what am I saying, how can I open the conversation about the business and connect the business to what he is looking for. That is the key there. Identifying the bridge statement and where to insert the bridge, right? I can't insert the bridge because, let's say he's talking about his job and say, hey, I help people like you get into their own business. It doesn't really make sense. I have to bring out the pain in him before I insert my bridge statement, right? So it'll only come with practice. Doesn't matter how many times we talk about and how many examples specifically we call out to you, it is not going to make sense to you. Like, unless you do it and the connection establishes and you can really identify and figure out how to do it. There's nothing I can do we cannot teach you that. Unfortunately, we cannot teach you that. You just have to do it. How did I know when to actually insert the statement? How did I know what statement should I ask for them to open up and tell me about their pain point? There's zillion situations. I can't tell you all the situations and what to say. It'll only come to you if you're applying common sense and if you're doing the work a lot. You have to be doing a lot of work. Only then it'll come to you naturally because you're doing it. Right? And it cannot be in a fake situation. It has to be a real situation. You have to meet real people. Like for example, these guys, like last week, Varun and Prabha did a role play, right? It's like a manufactured situation. Even if you did that with your upline or your downline or your whatever, it is not going to click for you until actually you do it yourself in a real world situation. And that's why Kiyosaki always talks about real world business education is what network marketing gives us, right? And so you got to have a real world experience for you to learn exactly how and when and what to do with your business, okay? So I hope some of the examples that I gave you made some sense. Yes, Kavita.
Have you ever made a message like instead of giving phone numbers, people are asking like, I can give my email address, can you send an email to me with your information or brochure?
Yeah, so two things that with that question, right? The first question I have to ask myself is, did I build the connection and trust? Chances are if somebody is not willing to give their phone number, that you did not connect properly or the trust was not built. Or the second aspect of it could be that I did not add enough value to them. So those are the things that you have to ask yourself, or they could just be really skeptical, or they may not be looking, right? And I was talking about this at the conference call, I think last week, our conference call. Is sometimes as IBOs, we're so good at somehow getting them to give us the number. Somehow putting them in a spot, they say, Varun has no choice but to say, okay, I'll give you my number, right? We're so good at it because that's what we used to do, right? So we need to get away from that and think about, is this person really looking? Is this the type of person that I want to exchange numbers with, drop the message with or not, right? So I don't know which of this it is, but maybe in my one-on-one, if you can tell me exactly what you said, she said, what you said, she said, we can dissect it to see, which of these you probably or potentially had a problem. It's hard for me to answer the question. But the things that I want you to think about is, did you connect well, right? Number 2, did you develop the trust? Number 3, did you add value to them, right? So 3 important questions, because if these 3 questions is a no, you're bound to have them ask you this question because they're not going to exchange numbers with you. All the 4 people I talked to you about, they were actually more than willing to give me their phone numbers. As a matter of fact, if they ask me, do you have a card? I say, yeah, I'm not a sales guy. I don't carry business cards. You can give me a missed call, and we can exchange numbers that way. If they ask me for business cards, sometimes I tell them, hey, I'm not a sales guy. I usually don't carry business cards. Right? So those are 3 important questions you have to ask. And what else did I say? I said something else, didn't I?
Did you connect well with you?
Connect,
Trust, and then did you add value to them?
Add value.
Are they looking or not?
Huh?
Are they looking?
Or not? That's an important thing also, right? So, if they're not really looking, let's say I told this guy, right? Like, for example, the IT guy, I told him, hey, have you ever thought about, doing your own business? You could make a lot more money doing that. If he said, no, I'm happy with where I'm at, that means that guy is not looking. If I proceed with that guy and say, hey, why don't we exchange numbers? That is the type of guy that might say, do you have an email address? Do you have a website? Because, number 1, he's not looking, because he said he's happy being where he is. And that's the reason why he may not be willing to give his phone number, right? But I don't think, I've at least not run into people that are not willing to give me their phone numbers if these 4 things are checks. If they say yes, yes, yes to all these 4, chances are they usually give a yes, Nisha.
What if they say that before we meet, I wanted to prepare for that meeting, so if I can go through the website, I'll have more.
Good. If they're saying that, you went too technical on them. The reason why they ask, give me a website is because you went so technical on them, they're like, oh my God, I need to prepare before I meet this guy. So maybe you're using too much jargon. You want to simplify what you're saying, so it's easy for them to understand. They don't think 100 times before meeting with you, oh, what is this search engine thing you're talking about, or what is this, whatever thing, concept, or whatever keyword you should use, it kind of confuses them. They don't want to sit in front of you and look ignorant. So they want to prepare, and that's why they're asking the question, because your message, your DTM was too technical for them anyway. For you, it might think it's fine, but for them, it was too much for them. It was about, it went over the head. So they're like, I want to prepare before I meet you. So I would check on that. And some people may be genuinely looking for more information. It is a possibility, but chances are you use some jargon that they did not relate to. Okay, so try and simplify your message. Yes, Idris.
Okay. When the goal of many people is to find out if you're looking or not, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk to a person and you ask them, hey, are you looking to do maybe business, something like that, and he tells you, oh, I'm fine with what I'm doing. Mentally you're like, okay, he's not the type of person I want. So how do you cope with that answer? How do you just show that, okay, I'm done the conversation and then leave? How do you cope with that? It's a little kind of rejection, kind of mentally, but
Yeah.
how do you cope that to still show that, hey, it's fine? How do you end the conversation? That's
great question. So the thing is that posture is not just the words, it's also your body language. So when somebody says no to you, if they look at the body and you go, oh man, or it's like, and the only way you will develop the right posture, the body language wise, is you have the sense of abundance mentality. You should have it. Otherwise, your face will show. If you don't have the abundance mentality, your face will show all the expressions they need to hear. without even you saying a word. Okay? So the number one thing I'll ask you to do is, again, talk a lot. Have a lot of conversations. So this one conversation should not affect you mentally. And if it affects you mentally, it will show in your physical thing. It will show in your face. So that's the first thing I'll encourage you to do is do a lot of work so you're not depending on one guy. Okay? The second thing is, for me, and again, the reason how I cope easily with it is, if not this guy, I can talk to 2 other guys. What's the big deal? Anyway, today I'm going to talk to 2 other guys, and tomorrow I'm going to talk to 2 more people. Day after I'm going to talk to 2 more people. I know that it's a fact. Also, I've spoken to 2 people every day for the last 2-3 weeks. So I also have a big list of numbers in my phone that I could potentially call and set a meet and greets with. So I'm not so desperate that this guy is the guy that I must talk to, because I have a backlog of numbers I can call, and I know that I will consistently go out and start meeting people. So that helps me calm myself down, so I'm not emotionally disturbed when somebody says no to me. Okay. So the third thing is how I actually disconnect the conversation is if they say something, then I switch to, I don't know, in Indian we say, change the plate on me or something, okay? Essentially we change topics, right? So, I know, let's say we talked about, I don't know, we're so we're in the plate section in IKEA or something, okay? And, and so if he says, not interested, oh yeah, it's okay. If he says, first of all, let me think about it. I don't know if I'll offer it to them if I don't know that they're looking. Because I was trying to think, when was the last time somebody said no to me and I offered it to them? And that means I'm not thinking through the conversation. So you might want to think about that. Maybe you're not reading between the lines. Maybe you're not reading the body language of the person or the words he's saying. You're so focused on what to say next that you're not reading or listening to what they're saying. Because if you were to read or listen to what they were saying before, maybe you wouldn't even offer them the business in the first place. Right? And it's very critical. And I don't think what I said to these guys about the Mexican guy, about opportunity or entrepreneur, I didn't think about these things because I was so confident in what I have and I've done it so many times that I'm not thinking about what I need to say, what my next statement is going to be. So I focus more on the individual and what they're saying, word and nonverbal, verbal and nonverbal. So it tells me clues as to whether I need to drop the message on them, ask them if they're looking for business or not. So I would work on that, see if you can change anything there in that area to see how you can improve that. Okay. Yes. And did I answer your question, Idris?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, to close on it, I'll change the topics on them and say, hey, it was, and I said, and I change that and I say, hey, yeah, no big deal, don't worry about it. It was just a shot on the dark, and I usually don't do this, but you just felt like somebody that might really fit what I'm looking for. But it sounds like we're just not on the same page, and no big deal. And then I say, do you come here to shop often? I immediately flip to, hey, you come and shop here often? So I switch the topic to something else and say, oh yeah, I do shop. Okay. Well, hey, it was nice meeting you. Happy shopping. And I shake hands and I leave. So say what she had to say, flip the topic, and then after 1 or 2 sentences, 3 sentences, I say goodbye, bye. What's the point in having a conversation after that? Yes, sir.
No, what I want to ask is sometimes in your stores, people are in a hurry and they, you start a conversation, but then it doesn't go so far where you could, do a DTM. How do you handle? Do you just let it go, or do you just try to get a contact and maybe do another DTM or a casual meetup with them and see if you can drop the message there or not?
Yeah.
We just let it go there.
So what he's asking is, do you always meet only people with the name Hari or not? I'm just kidding. So yeah, it happens all the time, and I do both. So sometimes I say, hey, very nice meeting you, and let's keep in touch and we'll get some coffee sometime. And looks like we have some common interests. Let's get some coffee and we'll chat. So I've done that.
Right.
And sometimes, I just feel like, oh man, this is too much of a rush, and I'm just not able to deliver enough message there for me to ask for a number.
Right.
If I feel like if right now I ask for the number, he would not give it to me, or he would hesitate giving it to me, I wouldn't ask.
Okay.
I'd be like, no. He said, hey, nice meeting you. I know you're in a rush right now, but nice meeting you. Take care. And both has happened to me. I've done this and I've done that as well. And I've exchanged numbers with them, and we call it MG0. So we meet with them for an MG0 just to reconnect or finish the connection,
Right.
build the trust, identify the problem, drop the message at the MG0,
Right.
and then set up the MG1 from there.
Yeah, because sometimes, we feel like we connect with people, but then we don't have enough time in that aisle or in that they are in a hurry or
Yeah.
we are in a hurry, where mostly they are in a hurry. We are not in a hurry. So you feel like, I could have, if only they stayed for
Only for 2 more minutes.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's just you just need to make a judgment call and
Right.
figure out what it
And
is.
sometimes, as I said, I think it's all about common sense and how the dynamic is going on.
Right.
Sometimes, it doesn't make sense to even get the number.
Exactly. And one thing I will add is that don't worry about your surroundings. Some people are so conscious. Oh, people that 2, 3 people are watching. Should I say this? Should I talk now? Should I reduce my volume? I would say, you know what? Most of the people that are watching you, you're never going to see them in your life again, ever. So don't worry about what those guys are thinking. Nobody cares about you. I'm just letting you know right now. Nobody cares about you or what you're saying, and they're never going to see you again, and they don't care. So why should you care? So don't worry about who's watching, who's not watching, how many people are around me. Oh, I'm talking to this guy, but there's another guy also standing and listening to me. Who the heck cares? You do what you have to do. That's it. Okay, so don't get in the situation where you're feeling pressure that other people are watching or listening. Sometimes the people that is listening might come to you and ask you, hey, it happened to somebody recently, right? Is it probably like you? Ashok. Ashok was actually, dropping a message on somebody, and then whoever is in the next aisle, they came up to him and said, hey, I'm actually interested in whatever you're saying. He exchanged numbers. And he exchanged numbers with him. Actually, he was going through the process. Wow. So, don't be shy about it. Like, for example, you're sitting in Panera Bread. You're like, hush, hush. You're so soft that the other guy has to be like, It's okay. Who cares? You are who you are. Be confident and say what you have to say. And don't worry about anything else. Okay? Yes, last question. Yes. So we're out of time, Brandon.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in terms of once you have the conversation, you feel that it's not going the business side. Have you personally switched the conversation for products?
Great question. I have not done that, so I wouldn't be able to tell you the tips on it because personally I have not done it. Because I feel like I will lose my posture and the conversation will, I don't know, it's just the conversation, how we take it in terms of adding value, talking about entrepreneurship or mentorship and things like that. And all of a sudden it's hard for you to flip it and say, hey, I also have a product business, do you want to buy from me type of thing, It's so hard to do that. I would much rather approach people directly for a product than try to convert somebody that I started talking about the process and then convert them to a product. It's hard to do. I've never done it. If someone else has done it, I'm happy to listen to how they do it. But for me, it doesn't seem to work. Yeah, and even actually at the MG1 also, it's very difficult. Like, let's say I do an MG1. After all this stuff, process this, that, how do you convert that MG1 guy into a product? Because, all of a sudden it's a subtle thing. It's hard to do. I've never done it. So it's hard to do. What we do is, we connect with them on Facebook. Hey, it's okay. The timing's not right for you. It's not the right thing for you. Let's connect on Facebook. Let's stay in touch. Guess what? He just exposed me to 500,000 people from his network. So I added him to his Facebook. And then, eventually, I might send a product message or something to him directly and to see if he's interested. Right? So that you might do. So, capitalize on his network. Don't let people go because you already got him. And what I do is also right there, add him on Facebook and say, is this you? And they say, yeah. I'm just going to send him a message, connect with him. So that way they connect. Later on, if he blocks me, that's a different story, but at least I have access to his numbers. Yeah.
One thing I do is also when I find out their occupation, and obviously the DTM failed, right? When I add them on Facebook, there's a section called interest list that you can add them to, and I have different occupations. I'll put computer engineer, and I'll stick that guy in that interest list. And now you have a bunch of topics, basically, what they are, and you can selectively send certain posts or certain things to those specific interest lists. So sometimes if there's like a bunch of medical people related, employees or something, I'll go to that interest list and I'll make sure everything that is their pain point, like they have late night shifts or whatever it is, I'll make sure that if I find some research or other tips or something on energy or how to hacks on staying up late or something, I'll always share it to that list of people, and it only posts to those people. So I keep my relationship
That's really
with
cool.
guys.
How do you do that? Do you tag them or?
You have to be friends with them first, and then I think you have to like when you tap on their name, I think that's when it does it. When you just hover over their name, it'll give an option where it'll have 3 buttons right next to where it says friends, and then when you click on it, you can say add to an interest list, and that's how you can add.
Oh,
It's called
nice.
list. List.
Oh,
It's a feature on Facebook called
List.
list. And then you create 10 lists of different kinds, doctor, engineer,
Yeah.
whatever. And then this guy goes into that list.
Right.
It's like labeling on Gmail.
yeah, that's what I said.
So you're
Tagging.
labeling your friends.
Similar to
So
tagging.
it goes to
essentially.
everybody in that group. If you post, it goes to everybody in that group.
And when you post it, you have to say go to a specific list.
Yes.
Yeah, and then like when I communicate them with them too, it's easy for me to have a certain mindset and then just go, because all their posts only show only those people. So
Yeah.
I'm always in that mode, like, okay, if it's medical, I'm gonna only think medical right now when I'm in this list,
Yeah.
So in your general feed, they don't come. So you just go in the list, and their feed will come in the list.
Mhm.
Oh, that's nice. That's like a group,
It's actually like a
like a
group,
WhatsApp group.
but it's just like your
Yeah.
personalized group essentially.
Personalized.
Mhm.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice tip,
Yeah.
Abhigna. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So last question is, how do you choose who you're going to talk to?
It looks. Just by looking at them, I have a target in mind. Let's say 21 to 30 years old, single or couple, preferably no kids, and that's what I look at. And if they'll dress sharp, look sharp, and if I think they fit in that category, then we talk to them. Sometimes we get surprised they have 4 kids. But
She
she did
didn't
not
look
look like that.
But
Yeah.
we connected.
Yeah,
because
but
she's
also
very
Hispanic people
ambitious.
get married early and they have kids early too, so that could be part of it.
And she's very
So,
ambitious.
Yeah.
I asked her, how do you do all these things? Oh, it's just priority. I'm like, oh, really?
So yeah, it's just looks. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. How many of you learned? Who likes Satyan's training? Takeaways. Did you note down the takeaways today? Yes. I will be looking forward for the messages, right? So, it was a great FNH today, and thank you for whoever participated. Everybody participated. So give your round. Thank you, Arjun, for the AV team. Thank you so much for helping. And thank you, Sudhakar and Sridevi. When we came, the room was set up, so we didn't have to lose anything. And thank you, Satyan, for bringing me early. And so we had, everybody, and Varun and Shita, you did a great job. Thank you so much for spending 4 hours. Really, you have to give him a hand.
Yeah.
And we all need to bless them so they have a big team because they served us today, right?
Yeah.
So let them have eagle going team this year, right? So awesome. See, when you do, that's how your crossline needs to feel about you. They need to bless you, so you need to move on. How can you do that? By only serving, right? So very proud of you for doing that, and always, not just now, always. Thank you so much. Okay. So with that, we are done, but we need to do the PMP, right?
Yeah.
And let's do the PMP. Who's ready?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Okay. I'm going to focus on everybody. Okay. So when I say start,
On this stage.
yeah. Okay, I'll just say introduction and then you guys start acting, okay? Acting. Hi, upguys. We had a phenomenal FNH today at Sudhakar and Sridevi's house. It was amazing. We learned a lot. And here comes the excitement from Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your action. We had a phenomenal FNH. We'll see you. Please clean up your places and please put the room as it was before you came. With that, have a safe trip home and to the function, and we'll see you guys the week after. Bye bye. Awesome.
FNH also recorded YouTube. They have a super duper phenomenal quality. Okay, so we are gonna cut a CD about Satyan's talk, video CD. I'm gonna send you that. What is that?
One of the best FNH, and I am watching on Soften, so I have multiple program running right now. If you're not smiling, 25 cents, okay? Every half hour, 25 cents increases, okay? So you can smile, and then after half hour, if you're not smiling, that's another extra.
I think that we can have the names and the money.
Yeah. So how many of you are excited to be here? So many things are going outside, right? I mean, what is all going? Stock market is like going like this. You know, a lot of people's heartbeat is going like that because of that. And coronavirus is going, right? And people are panicking. But what we do as entrepreneurs, we are not panicking. Can anybody say why?
We have the best vitamins.
We have the best vitamins, more